Welcome to Plumas County. We're located in the northeastern corner of California. Slowly, the demographic is changing, and more people of color and LGBTQ are making their way to the La Sierra. Many of us, while hiking a trail or just participating in events, have heard the question, "Why are you here?" And to some of us, that question implies that we somehow don't belong, that America's rural places aren't for us. We thought we'd ask some neighbors in the small towns that make up Plumas County how they survive in a nearly all-white county where their ethnicity sometimes comes into question, especially in today's political climate. How do people of color survive in a place that doesn't always honor their right to be here?
I'm the stranger next to you. I see what you do.
Scary, extremely scary, because I have been in areas where there were white people, but it was always with a mix of other races. And I grew up in predominantly Black areas, so it was really weird being, for the longest time, I hadn't seen a Black person in Quincy until I got on campus. I felt completely scared. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was scared. There were lots of trees, a lot of white people, and it freaked me out.
I would say it is safe in the way that no one has been attacked, no one has been lynched like has happened in other parts of the country right now. But I wouldn't say it's safe as in we can walk around fully identifying who we are and feel okay and not feel judged or pressured to be different.
To me, the history and the stigmas didn't matter to me. It was more, do I feel comfortable? Do I feel safe? So that's a big thing that I feel that the rural areas do give you. It makes you feel safe, and it brings you back to the earth. There's something about being in the mountains and the fresh air and being able to hike and go hang out and do bonfires. It's just something relaxing about that.
I don't feel like I feel unsafe, where I feel like my life is threatened, but there's definitely, especially with movements against ICE and BLM and Trump supporters being a majority of the political view here, I feel like it's really hard to want to stand up for what I believe in. Like I said, I have a lot of family here that owns businesses, and like I've always been in fear, like whether I was working in the restaurants themselves or if I was out in public being outspoken against things I believe are wrong, that would threaten my family's position as business owners in this community, that it would put a microscope over all the Latinos that I'm related to and the Latinos that are in Plumas County.
It was interesting when I first got here. The council president of my church at the time and I sat down, and I one of the questions I asked him straight up was, "Is there racism in Plumas County?" And he, of course, being the white guy, said, "No, absolutely not. No racism here." So that was my feelers went off immediately and said, okay, obviously there is racism in Plumas County, because if you can't even see it, then yeah, it's here.
Once kids start getting like old enough to understand what's happening in like politics, especially in 2016 when Trump was first elected, I got called a beaner a lot. Our kids would like pretend to deport each other and they'd just laugh about it.
As far as my feeling observing any racism, it would have to do more with the fast and loose way people use the word Chinaman around here. I'd never been called a Chinaman until I moved up here. And, but I've had worse encounters in my life in an area of greater population where people can be anonymous.
That was when he said, "Do you know what Nazis are?" And my eyes turned big, when I heard the word Nazi. "And do you know what slaves are?" The more, I think I turned red, when I heard those words. And then he said that Do you know that slaves, when they do not follow the Nazi, they are hanged to death? And then I said, I am not a slave, neither am I a Nazi. Oh, stop being smart ass. Go back to your country of origin. So, with that simple phrase of go back to your country of origin, what does it mean? He doesn't accept me. That I am not welcome, that I should go back to the Philippines. And it really made me mad.
Well, I was part of the GSA, the Gay Straight Alliance, locally for a while. I helped found it. And through that, we threw on the very first Pride event this county has ever seen, which, was incredible. But I remember the first day of Pride. It was a 2-day event. I remember the first day, there were 2 older men in Make America Great Again hats, just sitting nearby in what is obviously, gay pride, because there's rainbows everywhere and it literally says pride right there. And they're watching the goings on and making snarky comments and just being kind of, am I allowed to cuss?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're being shitty. And I just felt immediately super guarded because I didn't want them to cause anything. There were children everywhere. I didn't want them to start picking fights or anything like that. So I was just really tense and anxious for as long as they were there, and then some. Because you don't know what kind of hate people can bring back.
I was driving from Kronberg back to Quincy after work, and I had went over a solid line, and they were doing bridge construction, and the guy behind me was taking photos of my license plate number. And so I had a pen, and I was writing his license plate number through the mirror, and I got it down, and it felt uneasy. And then by the time we got to Quincy, he had his phone out and was recording me as I passed him by. Now check this out. He was an off-duty cop at the time, and he showed up to my door, flashlight, hand on his gun, kicked my door in, all because I had crossed over a solid line.
I remember there was one instance where I was at work in my dad's restaurant, and this was when DACA was being looked over and people were standing up against it. And I remember this man that was like someone I went to high school's dad. He sat there and was like talking about how Obama was a monkey and that he needed to stop sitting there trying to like give Mexican people just asylum for whatever reason to allow anchor babies to stand here. And I like sat there, I'm like, I'm an anchor baby, like what do I say? And like I just swallowed it. Like I just was like, I'm at my dad's restaurant, like what do I say? I can't sit here and like bitch him out, because what's that going to do to my family? That puts us under a microscope.
I don't care if you're gay, trans, bi, whatever. It makes no difference to me. But I wasn't always that way. And as I was growing up, I hung out with a lot of kids my age that influenced me a lot. I wanted to, gain their approval. And I had no mind throwing around racial slurs. I had no problem every time, instead of me saying, no, I swear I'm not lying, it was, I skin it. That's where you lick your fingers, hit your skin. If you're lying, your skin turns black. I want to show that people can change their thought pattern, and it needs to happen. It took meeting my wife for me to start the change. My wife is biracial. She's half black. And it took meeting her and going on our journey together to see what's going on in the world. Luckily, I saw it before now.
I think once they also stop making it where we have to literally change ourselves, how we speak, how we act. We're working hard to restrain our anger just so they feel safe. Well, we need them to work on their part to make us feel safe. What are they going to do that makes us feel safe?
We may come from different places. We may speak different language. We come from different walks of life. But at the end, we are all human beings. So what is the problem?